Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Comic Books NYC. You're watching Original Art Hour. This is the show where we sit down with other original art collectors, share some art from their collections, tell some stories, and talk about the art collecting side of the comic book hobby. Joining me tonight in the latest episode is my fellow New Yorker, Simon Comics. What's going on, brother? Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you too. I'm glad
Thanks.
to be here.
Thank you, man, and hope you're staying safe here in the city. And maybe when all these different crises are over, one day we can, hang out at a comic book event or something down the line. But in the meantime, I'm glad you're here with me live on the channel and giving everybody a chance to see your art collection. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Awesome.
Always happy to be here.
Thank you. All right, so before I do your intro and we get into the artwork, I want to say hello to the folks we have here hanging out in the chat with us live. We have Unruly Simeon. What's going on, my friend? We got Geeks, Drinks, and Comics. Says he's going to be in and out. What's up, Graphic Man in the house? Good to see you, Graphic Man. Poor Mike says he's scared to enter the OA zone. What's going on? Tricky Trapster is here. What's up? One of the regulars here. Magic Lasso, also another regular, says he never misses the original art hour. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help and support. Let's see who else is in here. Mike the Collector is in here, a previous guest. What's going on? Simon's in the chat. Thank you, sir. We got JP Budget Collecting, his favorite YouTube show that makes him want to spend money. I'm glad I could be there for you, bro. Tech 31 Kid, Ben, yo, what's going on? Thank you for being here. Jaguar, what is up? Jags in the house. William Smallwood, what's going on, William Smallwood? Thank you for being in the chat live. Mr. Gretzky 9966 also is here. What's going on, Gretzky? Beta Ray Jim is in the house. What's up, Beta Ray Jim? Thank you for being here tonight. Tony NY Jr., hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you, Tony. Thanks for hanging out. And DS Comics, what's up, DS? My friend DS Comics in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing okay. And I think I'm all caught up on the chat. So let's dive right into it, man. We got one late entry here. We got Funk Comics 814. What's going on, brother? Thank you for being here. So look, Simon Comics. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, another late comer. We got Brian, Take the Time Collectibles, also another previous guest. Thank you for being here and supporting the show. And Gold Gauntlet Comics is here also. Thank you, Gold Gauntlet Comics. All right, Simon Comics. If you're not familiar with his channel, please give him a subscription. The link to his channel is below. Always showing some fire Golden Age comic books, some great timely stuff. Big Joe Simon guy, as you can tell from the name of his channel, Simon Comics. Big Simon and Kirby guy, but just a great collector, great collection, great member of our community.
Golden Age.
And I wanted to bring him on so he can share some of the original art in his collection. What's going on, Burke Family 54 also is in the house. Good to see you. So how did you get into the art side? Why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit and sort of let people know how you got into it, and then we'll start showing some art.
Yeah. So well, most people know I'm relatively young compared to the rest of the hobby that deals in Golden Age books, especially Golden Age. And so, I'm relatively young compared to them. And, I grew up, I had mentioned I'd grown up with comics around my life in a way. And even though I never read them as a kid growing up, I still was surrounded by them. And same thing with art. I was surrounded by that growing up. And so when you're surrounded by that growing up, then you also, it's just a part of you. So it was only natural for me to, start collecting once I was able to really kind of know what was going on, I guess you could say. Because when you're kids, you don't really understand, why things are the way they are. And so once I started getting older, I started collecting comics, buying comics, first with the Silver Age, then with Golden. And I really stayed in just mainly Golden Age comics and the Silver Age and, buying, selling, but also keeping some. And then I also decided my friend has an art collection. And you'll see my collection today, which is very small. But then I mean, it's like nothing compared to my friends who has Simon and Kirby art like there's no tomorrow. They have original Joe Simon, Jack Kirby art from the Golden Age, and it's just really fantastic.
So somebody kind of hooked you into it a little bit.
Exactly.
Nice.
So I grew up around him too, and I grew up. He was always around, and but recently he started selling off his comics, and I bought some of them. But then after buying some of them, he said he was going to start selling some of his art, not all of it, just a few pieces, and he decided to sell me stuff to start getting me into into art, and he gave me really good deals, and that's really how I started collecting art, and it's
awesome.
Just been a giant snowball effect ever since.
Do you have your first piece, or just whatever you want to show first is fine? It doesn't have to be your first piece.
Well, I'm going to start it slow. Actually, I'm going to start it. I'm going to start it slow. I'm going to start with last week I saw that Yaniv had World War II art, and so this is a piece. I don't think it's worth anything, but this was printed, and I don't know who the artist is, but I believe this was used as currency. They probably pasted something in. You have America's economy and the UK's economy, and they're doing kind of a tug of war. It's just interesting to see the art that goes back and forth, and the art going back and forth, but also how they drew and how they practiced, even on the same piece of paper. So it's just, it's really nothing amazing, but I just thought it was kind of unique. You don't really see this every day.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think I've quite seen the piece.
Well, actually, no. This is supposed to be a photo. It says a photo by, I think that says Haas or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see. For some reason, it's coming in grainy. I'm not really sure if that's the light or if it's the stream quality on my end.
Sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it.
Here, if you want, you could give me a minute. I'll try to connect to better internet if you want. While staying on the stream.
Up to you, man. Up to you.
Okay, so why don't you show a piece and I'll be right back.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can speed up my own. Let me know if I'm still live, guys, in the chat, because I think maybe it's the New York area may be having internet issues. I don't know. But anyway, let me say a quick hello to some folks who joined us also. Comic Head 84 is in the house. Gomez is here. What's up, brother? Good to see you, broski. Let's see who else is in here. Okay, so he said, okay, you are live. I'm not live. Now I don't know. I don't know if I'm live or not. But hey. What are you going to do? It seems like I'm live. It says I got viewers. You can hear me, right, Simon? Or maybe he's just in the room. All right, I'm going to show a piece. So I'll start actually that Kenny's here. I just got this in. This was the prize-winning blank sketch cover from Kenny Comic Head 84 for his Elseworlds contest, which I won. And it arrived in the mail. So this is the Infinity Gauntlet blank cover, and this is a Joker wearing the Infinity Gauntlet saying, "Wait till they get a load of me." So awesome Gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet, Joker hybrid cover here. All right, so I am live. Okay, cool. Because I wasn't sure for a second there. Things started getting haywire on the screen. All right, so that's going to be my first piece. This is my newest piece of art to arrive, and it is a Comic Head 84 original.
It's nice.
Thank you, and it's all Kenny. It's all 84. So
interesting concept.
All right, so let's go back to you, man. Let's see. I think it looks better already to me, honestly.
Okay.
A little bit. When I go full screen, it's a little grainy, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks.
Okay. So I was friends with the late Alan Bellman, and right. He was a Golden Age artist.
Just passed away recently.
Yeah. He passed away, I think, in March. And he was a big Simon and Kirby fan, big Golden Age fan, and he worked in the Golden Age right after Simon and Kirby left Timely. And I was fortunate enough to be friends with him. We would call each other and a message. Never got to meet in person, but it was always just very very good to each other. And so he sent me a piece of art before he passed away. He did it specially for me, and it was just a Captain America sketch cover.
Oh yeah.
And being honest, I like this piece of art that he did. I mean, maybe it's because of the connection I have to it that he specially did for me, but I think this is one of his better done pieces. I've also heard other people say that, but I just
Dude, that's
really
really cool, man. That's super nice that he did it personally for you.
Yeah, I've heard so many great stories about him. Always being such a nice guy and everything, and he really was. And he was 95. He lived a good life. He had a brief illness at the end, and yeah, it's just. I mean, I guess that's a circle of life. But I was glad I got to at least know him, and he lived a good life, and
yeah,
he was very happy. He was very welcomed by the comic community. I know that, and he was always a great part of the shows. I know he was at Big Apple Comic Con in 2012. I think that's the only time he went to that show. But yeah, that's my piece.
Cool, and that's pencils only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pencils, and I think he added like a little bit of color for his eyes. That's it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, a little tough to see, but it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, awesome, dude. Very, very cool. A lot of cool comments in the chat on that. Beta Ray Jim says Cap's got that strong chin the ladies go nuts for. Nice. All right, so I'll show. Let me see. I'll show this page, which I think I may have shown this before, but I honestly don't remember when the last time I did. It may have been like way back to like the very first episode of Original Art Hours, so that means probably most people haven't seen it. But this is a page from Marvel 2-in-1. And so it's a Thing page, but it's also a Donald Blake page, which is Thor. But it's this particular page was penciled by Herb Trimp, and inked by Joe Giella. But what also makes it interesting is it has John Romita Sr. Touch-up work on the faces. So Romita Sr. was brought in to finish face work on this issue. So 3 really, really awesome, Marvel artists all working on this one page featuring Thing and Donald Blake. So one of my favorite things.
I would say it's really quickly the panel with Thing's face and the guy's face. The face done by Romita Sr. It looks very much like the Captain America 114 cover he did of Steve Rogers and Captain America, the one with 2 floating heads. Yeah, so that's when I thought it looked a little bit like Romita Sr. And
I know it really does pop that he worked on this, even though he wasn't the main artist.
Very nice piece.
But yeah, that's like that's as close as I can get to Romita Sr. Yeah, definitely some strong inks on this page. Lots of Trimp's awesome. Awesome inks and finishes on that page. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Yes, Sinet and Romita Sr. always very strong inks. Did I frame up that sketch, Mike? I have it back there. I think I just have it in the mat outside of the frame. I actually have to get a new frame for it, but I'm glad you noticed it back there. Thank you, Tricky Trapster. So yeah, man, happy to share this page. I would love some more, Romita Sr. related stuff eventually, but those are hard.
This work's pricey though.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, man, your turn. Can you hear me? Your audio is cutting in and out a little bit. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
For some reason, I think you're connected to something. Must be a connection issue because your audio is kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay. Well, if you can still hear me now, though.
I don't know.
I'll just show it anyway.
I couldn't hear what you said. I can see it, but I couldn't hear what you said before.
Well, I wasn't talking, but okay. Can you hear me now, though?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. Well, this is just a Rob Liefeld piece. Small remark. Nothing great.
Okay, it's a remark. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Liefeld's fans might think it's great. But it's just, it's just something small.
So Rob Liefeld Deadpool remark on Marvel Comics 1000 Liefeld variant. You signed it too?
Yeah, correct.
Nice, dude.
And he gifted this to me. Yeah, he was very nice, and he actually gave it to me. So, and that was nice. One of the better memories, I guess you could say, with Liefeld.
Cool. I don't think I've ever actually had a conversation with Liefeld. I've been looking at original art at New York Comic Con at like the same booth, like literally like he's flipping through a portfolio next to me and pointing out pages, and I'm flipping through a portfolio next to him pointing out pages. Obviously, he can probably afford much nicer pages than me, but that was like the one interaction I ever had with Rob Liefeld, like in person. With that, but I didn't want to bother him and turn it into like a fan type thing, you know. So.
Well, I'll be honest, I've heard mixed things about him in terms of fan interaction. Some people, they don't like him, say that he's, he's kind of cocky and stuff
I've heard,
that. Some people,
I've heard this as well.
Some people, they have fantastic meets with him. So I had a good experience with him, but I mean, my family's kind of known him, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it depends on his mood, being honest.
Unruly says that's still pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool, honestly. And what was even cooler was the shot. This is a total sidebar, but there was a picture on social media that I got issues captured of Jeffrey Comic-Con and him photobombing Rob Liefeld, and I was the one. I think I was the one who took the photo because he was in it, and Jeffrey was in it, and Rob Liefeld was in it. But I was the only other one there, so I'm pretty sure I took that picture. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Is it my turn? It is my turn.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to show this next. This is something that that's kind of interesting because it's a splash page to a unpublished comic book. The name of the comic book is Section 12. And this is the splash page for what would have been the first issue. And the issue never came out and was never published. The artist is Mike Kelleher. You can see right there. Illustrated by Mike Kelleher. The name of the book, Section 12. This is the page one splash to the first issue that never came out. Now, I've tried to find information about who was going to publish the book, Section 12, or like what the story is around the book Section 12, and I couldn't find anything at all. But why I have this is just because I thought it's a really striking image, and when I saw it, I just had a personal connection to it from an art standpoint. Published or unpublished didn't really matter to me, and the fact that it was unpublished probably made it more affordable anyway. Because it wasn't really a pricey piece or anything like that. But yeah, pretty cool. I don't know what that character is or what the story is, so it's really just totally up to me to interpret what's going on. Anytime I take this out and look at the page. Thank you, Tony NY Jr. Trigger Trouter says he has a cover like that, unpublished. Yeah, exactly. Mike says he digs the shading on this page. And D-Runk's in the house. What's up, D-Runk? He says he's late. No need to recap everything immediately. He'll catch the replay. All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. So yeah, man. Just a little interesting sort of unpublished piece right there. That was meant to be published, I guess. So maybe we'll find some information on that at some point, where the community can help me find some information on that at some point.
It's definitely interesting, the story behind the art, because you see the art, but there's a lot of story behind it that you don't see with it. Exactly.
And that's kind of part of the mystery with this piece, where like I connected with the art and I was like, okay, yeah, this is not gonna be a major expenditure. I really dig the art, but it also has given me like a project, like to sort of figure out what the hell the story is behind that comic. You know,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, bro, you're up.
Okay. Next, I was at the Big Apple Comic-Con in December, like you, and I got to talk to Cy Berry, a Phantom artist, and did some other work. He did some work in the Simon and Kirby studio, which I did not know. And
nice.
yeah, so he told me some stories about Joe and Jack, and just got a small piece from him. Yeah, I'm actually, I don't know. I'm debating on whether to let this piece go. It's not worth that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a nice piece, though. I will say that, you know, it's very well drawn. Just the human anatomy and everything, and the background's interesting about him in the jungle, and so few lines can really just give you this image. I think it's pretty well done.
No, but, dude, that's really.
I mean,
cool,
I'm happy with it. Yeah,
I like it.
So, yeah, and I think he's in his 90s, early 90s, and to still be able to do this, you know, it's impressive.
That is very impressive.
Yeah.
Tony O.I. Jr. says, "Sweet Phantom." Unreleased says, "Phantom is so cool and underrated."
Yeah.
And Graphic Man said, "That's sweet and clean." Yeah, very, very sweet, very clean.
Yeah,
great pencil work.
The Phantom was almost like superheroes before superheroes in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a nice piece.
Awesome, dude.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
If you want to show two at a time, you're more than welcome to. Like I said, I want to keep the focus on the guests.
Sure.
I
just didn't want to, you know, hog the space or whatever.
Yeah, no. Go. Feel free to hog the space, man. This is about showcasing your collection.
Okay.
Because I've shown everything, you know. At this point.
Next up, I have a Neil Adams piece. I'm sure others have seen stuff like that.
Pass till the end. Oh, that's an awesome piece, dude. I like it.
Yeah. So, I was at New York Comic Con with my cousin, and it's kind of an interesting story. And I mean, I think I got a bargain on them. He usually charges $300 for this kind of piece for a side profile, which I think is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And you know, being honest, and so, but then he gave me a deal on it. Now he charges $200. I know he does like a sale on his Facebook page, something like that. And I've actually heard what Neil is really trying to do is he's trying to like go out in a bang. He's really just trying to make as much money for his family as he can. So he's really just trying to sell as much as he can and make everything, you know, just to sell it, to be quite honest. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a nice piece. He's most well known for Batman, I would say, and I think he did a very good job on this piece.
Yeah, man. I have I didn't bring it out for this episode, but I have a side profile sketch, Neil Adams, Wonder Woman, like that, that he did. I got it for less than $200, but I was actually at his LCS, the store, the comic shop he owns in Burbank, California.
Oh,
and
okay.
I got it there, so I kind of got the hookup, you know, and it was already framed and everything. So it was like one of those things where I was like on the road, and I was like, well, I can't pass this up, and I grabbed it and took it on the plane with me. But that's cool, man. Love that Neil Adams Batman sketch. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so here's what I'll show next. And this is something interesting. So this might be another kind of like mystery. Maybe somebody can help me solve. I've never shown a color guide on this show before, and you know, because you know, technically it's not the same thing as like original line art, you know, pencil and inks, right? But you know, and this is, you know, I got this piece in a lot, you know, like 2+ years ago when I was even more of a newbie in collecting art. And at the time, like I had never never specifically gone after a color guide, but I don't even think I had a full understanding of what color guides were back then. And now I have a much better indication of it. But what I'm talking about, this is the piece I'm talking about, okay? So I believe this is a color guide for Nightwatch #1. Now, I can't, which was, you know, the cover was done by Ron Lim, Al Milgrom. You can see it there. Lim, Milgrom, Nightwatch #1. There's a note that says stars to be added to background. There's a note right there where it says take 2. So I believe this is an alternate colored version of the cover, possibly that wasn't printed, but what makes it confusing is that there's different versions of the cover. So there's a $1.50 version with more of a flat blue color in the background, and then there's also a $2.95. This is like the one that most people this is the one with the higher print run, with the foil, the foil color background and everything like that. $2.95 price tag. Now the cover art looks the same essentially, except for the background color different. But you can see here in his arm, see how it's like red then silver, I guess, or I mean, I don't know if those are the exact colors. But then you look at the color guide, and you can see, right? You can see a clear difference in color there, right? So I have a feeling that this is like an alternate color version of the cover to Nightwatch #1. I don't believe that there are any original pencils and inks on here. It looks like watercolor, to me, watercolor paint. Now, another thing that I can't quite figure out is that I don't know who the colorist is of the cover, because there's no information on the internet. It just says Ron Lim, Al Milgram, pencils and inks, cover, interior. Like, there's no colorist credit for the cover. There's a colorist credit for the interior. I think it's like Joe Rosen or something like that, or no, not Joe Rosen. Joe Rosas. So really, that's the only information I've been able to track down on this. But still pretty cool to have a potentially a production, whatever, color artwork for a published Marvel cover. But I would love to have the complete information about it at some point, because I didn't even really at the time understand what I was getting or buying, which is a pro tip is to to know the differences of the types of art that are out there in circulation, being advertised as original art. You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, but going back to just everything, the story behind the piece, there's always kind of like a mystery. And I think that really adds value to it.
Yeah, Tricky Trapster, I'm kind of multitasking with Comic Link tonight and the art auction, which is ending tonight. So I am bidding on some stuff, mostly probably losing on everything. So it's just the way it goes.
Multitasking.
All right, man, back to you.
Okay, next piece we have another. I think she was mainly Silver Age, one of the earlier female artists in the industry, Ramona Fradon. She goes to the New York Big Apple Comic Con, and I picked this piece up from her. Every time I go, I always say hi to her. We always talk, and she's a very nice person. And I think she's like 92 now. So the art that she still produces is really fantastic. Here we have the shadow. And she's not known for drawing the shadow, but there's something about this piece I really like. The colors, the pose, the guns, the hands, just everything about it. And so I picked it up. It wasn't relatively expensive, I guess you could say. I wouldn't say it wasn't cheap either. But, it's just something nice to add to the collection, something small.
Cool.
But, yeah.
I like that. What's the size of that? Was it done?
It's not that big.
Okay, so slab size. Yeah,
a little bit bigger than the slab, width-wise. And
what's up, DJ? He says, "Damn it, Simon, still no face."
One day. Don't worry. One day. Do you want me to show another piece, or do you want to go?
Yeah, keep going, man. We're about 30 minutes in here, and I know you have at least 8 or 9 more things to show, if not more. So.
Yeah, I have some. Now is when I guess you could say the heat is really coming.
All right, yeah, bring the heat. Let's see it, man.
Bigger characters, older original art. Okay, so next we have watercolor. This was done right after 9/11, and this is the sidekick and the main villain to a very famous character called Captain America. And so here we have Red Skull and Bucky. So. Let's see if that's better. So
Yeah.
here we have Bucky.
It looks a little bit more clear zoomed out. When I zoom it in, it's kind of gets grainy. But no, that's good right there. Yeah,
whatever's the best.
That's perfect right there.
Okay, so quick story. Joe Simon, he did, him and Jack Kirby did Captain America Comics #1, where we have Captain America punching Adolf Hitler. And so in 2001, when 9/11 had happened, he was doing recreations then, and he came up with the idea to do Captain America, instead of punching Hitler, to punch Osama bin Laden.
Uh-huh.
And so that piece exists. It was sold since he passed. I wish I could get that piece.
That sounds mind-blowing.
It's a beautiful piece. And in the corner of Cap 1 and also the Osama bin Laden creation, there's Bucky doing this exact same pose.
Yeah.
And in the Captain America Osama bin Laden recreation, he's wearing an FDNY hat to commemorate the fallen firefighters that sacrificed their lives. Yeah. So that was a nice touch. And so I think he probably did this for someone who went to his apartment, and someone who went to his apartment, or someone who just met up with him, and he did a quick 30-minute drawing. And it's a nice piece. I had to buy it back. My father actually bought it for me. So nice. I had mentioned that he's the one who kind of had a small comic collection that I found, and he buys art once in a while. And so he gifted this to me a few days ago. So that was nice, something small.
That's really really cool, man, and powerful, dude. Just as New Yorkers, that's
and just the Red Skull, all his disintegrating teeth and everything. It's like the golden age before the comics code, when everything was very grimy, and just because in the Silver Age he wasn't as scary, in my opinion. So
agreed on that. All right, man. I show another one, man. Show another one. Yeah,
okay. So I had talked about Captain America, those being his most famous enemy and sidekick. Now we have the hero himself. So this piece isn't finished. This piece is actually one of my favorites, just the way it's drawn. So we have a great Captain America pose here. Let me see if I get it. Okay, so we have the Captain America pose. He's kind of mid-action, and you can see that the thing that I love about this is you see what's in the artist's mind. You see how he draws the quick outline of the boots, of the legs, of the shield and the shadowing. But then you see that Joe Simon, he was a fantastic inker and penciler, but his inks were really unmatched. So you really had the clean inks up there by the head, where he started to refine his pencils. And then you see that he erased the pencils up there. So there you have fully inked. Then by the chest, you have just inks and still the pencils. And on the bottom of the piece, you still have the pencils. Now, you never got to finish this piece. That's why it's incomplete. But just the story behind it, and also how it shows you the 3 different levels of how an artist really draws, and how a piece is
finished or not, it's pretty cool to see the different sort of parts of the process all in one piece.
So I actually prefer it like this. That
way it's cool.
You see the 3. It's really, then you're in the artist's head, and plus the hand. The hands are always very hard to draw. To get just you wouldn't think that the hand is so hard to draw. You usually think face, and face isn't easy either. But the hands aren't easy. I'll tell you that. So
definitely not.
So we got the hero, we got the villain, and we got the sidekick.
Nice, dude. All right, cool. I'll show something super quickly, and then we'll go back to you. Well, I find every excuse in the world to show this page. If you've seen it before, I apologize, but you just showed a Cap thing, so I'll show you my biggest. This is my biggest Cap thing. I know you got more Cap to come, but this is my Kirby page from Captain America 203, that panel right there is like my favorite thing in my art collection. That panel featuring Cap and Falcon and Jack's signature embedded as well in the panel. And I always like to call out that that Captain America looks like the pose that Cap has in this particular panel reminds me of the cover of Captain America 109, which is one of my favorite Kirby Cap covers. So this is basically one of my this is my OA grail. if you will. So I'll just, I'll show it as many times as I come up with a reason to show it.
I don't think anyone's complaining about seeing that piece.
Right? Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So there you go. There's my cat piece for the night, and my Kirby reference for the night, which I've shown a few times already. But like I said, it doesn't hurt to show Kirby when you have the opportunity. So yeah, exactly. Never get tired of seeing that page, right? I gotta bring it out, man. A lot of Captain America fans coming on the show recently, so it's like that's gonna appear. George will work out your timeshare on that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, back to you, bro. Let's see more of your collection.
I'll show my Kirby piece later.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let me just. I'll build it up a little. Next, I have a Kid Adonis page. This was published in Boy. Yeah, it's huge. I mean,
huge, large art. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Here, there we go. So, this page was published in Boy Explorers #1, 1946 Harvey Comics, and Boy Explorers was a Simon and Kirby title. Both Joe and Jack drew that book, wrote it, and it's a shame it didn't do better because back then all the books were stockpiled from after the war. There was no place on newsstands, and so this was Kid Adonis. Kid Adonis was just a full Joe Simon story. So there's no Jack in this page, but I imagine that Jack once held this page, or it was in the same room as him, and they work very well together. The top left panel always reminds me of kind of like a weird version of Hulk. Can
you go close up? Like, can you bring it closer? Yeah, let's see the panels. Nice.
It always reminds me of like a weird version of Hulk. I don't know if anyone else.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is 1940. This was probably done in 1945. So, and I like this. I like this panel a lot, and it's it's just classic Golden Age artwork over here too.
That's awesome, man. I don't have any actual OA from stuff that was published in the Golden Age. I would love to get some eventually, but I haven't come across one I could that I would add yet. But that's super cool, man. Super cool seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll keep that back there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, do you want me to go again, or?
Yeah, keep going, man. I'm just gonna say a quick hello. Count Von Strange in the house. Good to see you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
Graphic Man said that top panel piece is a little Ditko feel. Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, that too.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think Ditko was probably just born around then, to be quite honest, or he's very, very young. I have 2 more pieces of original art and about 4 recreations.
I know you got some fire recreations. But show whatever you want, man.
Okay, so next I'll show this piece, and then I'll show the Simon and Kirby page. So this piece is another just Joe Simon original art from the Golden Age. Another big piece. So this was 1954, 55, Alarming Tales #3, another Harvey book. This piece is actually unpublished. It was recently published by someone in France who's actually doing Shield Master. So I guess they published it and they added on artwork. That's kind of interesting. So we just have, that Golden Age feel to it. Again, with the ink. Yeah, it's just great inking. This piece is actually, I'm probably going to sell this if anyone's interested.
That's really cool. What was you said it was from a title that was supposed to be published but wasn't, or something?
No. This title was published. This issue was published, except they just didn't use this art. Alarming Tales.
Oh, I see. Okay.
From Harvey Comics. And I'm trying to see if anything in the back now. But yeah, it's just very interesting with the hands and just the guy staring up and just frozen.
And so that's Joe Simon doing all the work on it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't believe that there's Jack on here. But it's a very interesting piece. And it's
interesting for sure, man.
Yeah, and the dialogue balloon, you could still see the light pencils.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's definitely I mean, if anyone is interested, just let me know. But it is a nice piece, I will say that. It's definitely
you heard it here first, guys. If you're interested in that, hit up Simon for a conversation on that. Let's see another one.
Another one. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me set this down. Okay.
We only have about 20 minutes left before we're at an hour, so I want you to just show your pieces. And
Okay, got it.
You know.
So, yeah, I got 5 pieces left anyway, so that's about 4 minutes a piece. Okay, so next we have a Simon and Kirby piece. You show Jack Kirby's Captain America, and this is Simon and Kirby's Fighting American. So,
awesome.
So yeah, they created Captain America in 1940, and they did Fighting America in 1954. So while there's no Fighting American on this exact page, I will be getting a page from my friend who also sold me this. And but here we have the first appearance of Doubleheader. So I've always loved this character. There's just something about one body and 2 heads, and they're just the villains, and they're pretty comedic too. And
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, there's just something about the art. So it's very classic Golden Age. And we have the zoom up of the guy.
Is that a boxing panel right there?
Yeah, and the boxing panel. Joe Simon started his career in boxing. Doing boxing artwork in the newspapers. And Simon and Kirby, they were great at drawing horses and Boys Ranch, and just basketball. I know Joe liked to play basketball, and it's just really great artwork. And again, I always like seeing well drawn hands. There's just something about hands that I really enjoy seeing, especially when they're done right, because they're just really so hard to do.
Yes, they are.
This piece was not in Joe's collection, but in the back there's also Comics Code approval stamp, which is some people might enjoy that. And so it's a nice piece. I keep it on my wall. I'm thinking probably I should get it professionally framed. I mean, it's always nice to see the original art next to each other.
Yeah, man, I go back and forth on that. I get some pieces professionally framed, but then there are pieces like my Kirby page, for example, where it's like I'm so hesitant to get it framed because I like actually being able to take the page out and like look at it without anything, obstructing me, and enjoy it on that level from time to time. So like if I put it behind archival glass and stuff, I'm not gonna want to take it out.
Yeah, definitely.
So that to me, so I debate the same way back and forth on should I or shouldn't I on framing and stuff like that.
I'll be honest. The only thing that's really held me back from framing this professionally is there's no room to put the mat on. Just because.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
you'd be dealing with all custom sizes and everything on those.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, First Edition Comics? Paul's in the house. Mr. Garrell is here. What's going on, guys? Thanks for being here. Comics for Thomas is also in the house. What's up, Thomas? Thanks for stopping by, guys. All right, let's start seeing some of your recreations. I brought out my one and only recreation, so maybe I'll show that really quickly, and then we'll wrap with all of your recreations. Right?
Okay, perfect.
All right, so here's my one and only cover recreation. It's the cover to Amazing Spider-Man number 41. And this is a recreation not done by John Romita Sr. because, as I alluded to earlier, that would be hard. But this was done by Mike Esposito, who was the inker of the original cover to Amazing Spider-Man 41, which was penciled by John Romita Sr. So I got the next best thing here, and that's the original inker of the cover doing a recreation. And Rhino is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I've always been a big fan of this book. I'm a big Spider-Man collector. That's my, like, as far as Silver Age stuff, that's my number one thing that I collect. Golden Age more on the DC side, Batman and Superman, but I do collect some timely stuff. But anyway, really happy to have this cover recreation of ASM 41 from Espo. And that's it as far as cover recreations. I don't have a ton of those. I think they're really cool. But I just haven't, it hasn't been, I guess, a major target or priority for me, I guess. And I would love to get some more eventually, but I guess I'm not rushing or anything like that. I gotta love it.
That's interesting that you showed that piece. Really quickly, I was watching Comic Book Men with my father, and we were watching, and the nephew of Mike Esposito came in with a bunch of recreations.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they helped auction them off. So I'm wondering if that piece maybe was
Maybe, dude. I mean, I'll have to look that up because, like, I think I've seen a whole bunch of comic book man, but I feel like I like binged it or something, so it all like blended together. So I don't even remember that. But
I'll tell you, it was I think it was season 3. If that helps.
Season 3. All right, I'll look it up and see if I can watch that episode. That'd be pretty cool. All right, man. Let's see your cover recreations.
Okay.
I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I try to get the comic while I have the recreation. I don't. Out of my 4 recreations, I only have 2 comics, just because the.
No worries.
So, let's just start it out with this. I'll try to move it closer, actually. So we have Wonderworld comics, number 15, by Joe Simon. So this was Fox Publications. Victor Fox, who self-crowned himself the king of comics, which later would be changed. And this is just a tough book to find in general, the comic, and also the art. This is the only recreation. And, it's
so
just
cool.
That's my favorite, actually, right here. That's my favorite part.
Dude, guy. That's cool. Yeah, the bondage.
Oh, yeah, and that dude right there, he looks like a green-red skull. I mean, if you just paint...
He does kind of, yeah.
I mean, so, and then you got the classic, The Flame. I know last week, Yaniv, he showed The Flame by Alex Ross, version that he did, and this is the Golden Age Flame. And so when Joe did this cover to be published, he was ghosting for Lou Fine. And Lou was one of the Golden Age greats as well. And, this was my first recreation, my first Joe Simon piece I bought with my own money. And it holds a special place.
Do you know when it was recreated or commissioned?
No, he usually didn't sign his work. I'm guessing this one was a little bit later, just because I could, I look at the detail and the observation of how well he did, and this one he did a great job here. The rest he did a very good job as well. I'm saying this is probably early 2000s, so that would be my guesstimate.
Yeah, I agree with Brian on that. That is beautiful, man. That's awesome. Congrats on that. That's really cool. I hope you track down the book eventually, man.
Yeah, my friend actually owns it. I'll see if I could buy from him.
Nice.
But those books, they go, anywhere from like $400 starting, and that's like incomplete copies and coverless. I'm on a budget, I guess you could say.
Aren't we all, bro?
Next, we have an even bigger piece. This one's huge.
Whoa.
Adventure Comics number 73. This is the first Simon and Kirby cover at DC Comics. So, dude, this is the published cover.
Awesome. Wow, that thing is massive, dude.
Yeah, the thing's huge. I mean,
it like swallows everything in front of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation piece. I'll tell you that. You put it
man.
in your living room. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the first Simon and Kirby cover at DC Comics, tied with Star Spangled Comics number 7. And that is, this is first Simon and Kirby cover. And the original artwork to this cover sold for $119,000. So
wow.
No, the recreation's nowhere near that. But
the original obviously wasn't colored, right? It was just
no. It was
art.
Like you saw before, my black and white pieces.
Right.
And this piece will probably be for sale. I would entertain offers on it. Just letting anyone know if anyone's interested.
Do you know when that one was commissioned, or
this one? Okay, I'll tell you. This piece, he did a great job over here. I would definitely say that. He did a great job here. Did a great job here. Again, I would say this is 2000s.
2000s.
About or early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
But he really did a great job with the perspective of the hand really reaching out and the guy just being terrified. And yeah.
Awesome, bro. Great piece, man. That is really large.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger cover recreations I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I actually prefer them when they're just when they're a really good size, then it just makes it so much better in my opinion.
Well, yeah, for sure, man. Like, because with a recreation, you don't necessarily have to be sticking to the rules. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be exactly the same size as a regular art board or whatever. There's a little bit more freedom there for sure. especially if you're commissioning it from scratch. Tricky Travis says best time to sell your pieces on Comic Link. I'm not well. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Actually, I'll look into that. But being honest, I'd probably rather sell directly to someone. That way, I know where it's going and stuff like that. And it's hard to let go of art just because.
Dude, it's really hard. It's really hard.
So my second and last piece is a Captain America recreation by Joe Simon again. This is black and white. He never, at least to my knowledge, there's no sales history on a colored version. So I think this is probably...
it might be the only black and white recreation?
This is probably the only Captain America 7 recreation in existence. Because I haven't
color or black and white that you can find.
Yeah, I haven't seen any sold Cap 7 recreations. I haven't seen any for sale either. So I believe this is the only one. And so this piece is much smaller. I like the black and white aspect to it. It makes it look like a art, being honest. They're a lot cheaper. Well, I wouldn't say that they're a lot. They are cheaper than the colored versions. But, there's something about the black and white that it's different, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I connect more with pencil and ink only art, non-colored. But I like color too, man.
That's my favorite part of the comic.
That's so cool, man.
I mean, just the guy. This was originally supposed to be back in 1941 when they were publishing this. That was supposed to be. I can't get my words right. That was supposed to be the Red Skull, and this issue featured the return of the Red Skull after Captain America Comics #3. So I guess last minute they said, if this is the surprise return of Captain America Red Skull, which this was supposed to be the real Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, the one that's in the movies right now, they didn't want to spoil him on the cover, so they changed it to some Nazi goon at the last second.
Damn, man. What's up, Mark Knapp 68 in the house? What's up, Boy at Sevens in the house? What's up, guys? Good to see you guys. Dude, that's rad, man. I love that, man. I really dig the black and white recreations.
Yeah, there's really something different about it that I really like.
Yeah, super sweet, man.
Yeah, and give me a second and I'll...
Yeah, no worries.
So my last recreation...
We're like running right on schedule here. I love it.
Perfect. I like being on time.
Yes.
So my last recreation is a recreation of this comic, Captain America Comics #5.
Damn.
Featured the first written story by Stan Lee.
And ALD Collects. Damn.
Captain America.
Oh, he signed it too there on the bottom.
Yep, signed by Joe and Stan Lee. Of course, Stan Lee didn't draw, so he didn't do anything on this piece except write his name.
Except sign it, yeah.
Yep, that's the only thing he did. And
still makes it cool because he did do work on the book from a writing standpoint.
It's definitely a great cover in my opinion. There's a little, I would say, CGC credits this. Most people credit this as a Jack Kirby and Sid Short's cover. I definitely think that this originally back in 1941 was inked by Sid, but I do think the pencils were by Joe and Jack. You look at the anatomy of these people, definitely had Simon and Kirby feeling to it. So, there's something.
But that recreation was definitely done by Joe Simon. So that, right?
This piece, I would say, you asked me earlier about the time. This piece, I would say 1980s, 1990s.
So an older commission, an older recreation.
So this one was, acrylics, and I think there's some watercolor too. And nice. Joe was very good at watercolor. Just the way he could, blend the colors and make it look like almost as if there was glare on the body running. And when you could take paints and make it into basically where it looks like a print, where you can't even tell that it's paint anymore. I mean, you could tell it's paint here, but you can't tell it in the lettering. It's just fantastic. And
so cool, dude.
You have the guy being tortured, the general. You have the swastika, and
you might be sending me down a recreation rabbit hole.
I'll tell you, I definitely enjoy them.
They're cool, man. Yo, what's up, Tony Sanders in the house? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, man. Cat, timely. Brian's asking to see the comic book again next to it. Yeah, that would be cool. Let's see.
Wait, he wants to see the comic?
Yeah, if you have the comic, you have that.
Yeah. It's right here. So let me just.
It's just cool to see them side by side when you do have it.
let me. So I don't know. I don't think my copy's really faded in color, but it's just I guess you could say the colors aren't as nice on the published comic. I guess just that green, the lime green in the background.
Dude,
for this type of green, in my opinion. I mean, I think others might disagree, but
no, it's super cool, man.
And then so yeah, that's the comic. Then you got Captain America and Bucky running in. You know, this is professionally framed with a UV glass, and so I'm happy with that. And just
I like the white mat. I like the signature replacement.
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm actually thinking about in the future doing black mats instead of white. Just something I might experiment.
Both solid choices, man. You know.
Yeah. So that's my last piece.
That's awesome, brother. Well, damn, man, I really dig that. I really dig those last two, especially from all the Joe Simon recreations. But all of them were super cool. Anything you want to mention coming up on your channel, or anything else that you got going on? We got like 2 or 3 minutes here to wrap up.
No, not really. Just lately, I've been showing Golden Age books as usual. I had a Daredevil Battles Hitler one. The other,
I saw that. With the real nice presenting cover, even though it's a. I love that. I love those like books where it's like, you can get a great cover, but you know, because it's like a 0.5 or there's like missing something or whatever, you get that discount.
You know, that book's iconic, not for the story, because of the cover. That's the cover,
exactly.
That's why people want it. So if you could get it in a great cover, you know, personally, that would be the perfect book. But I got Daring Mystery 1. That's first
first Schomburg work for Timely.
First Schomburg cover, first Joe Simon work at Timely. First Fiery Mask, a lot of first, a Bondage cover. Third Timely ever. So have that, and today this came in the mail, All Winners 4. So a lot of new names in this book.
I didn't mean to turn this into a Golden Age comic show at the end, but hey, that's pretty cool, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Later House to the end. Appreciate you hanging out with us here, dude. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming on, hanging out with me live, and sharing your art collection with communities. Saw some really cool stuff there. You're definitely gonna have me doing research on Joe Simon cover reproduction art that's out there, and I'd love to talk to you more about that offline and stuff. Ben's like, always no prob showing Timely's. Wow, TJ says his 2000 slab is going to be a Timely. Well, I can't wait to hear what that is. Thank you, Kenny. This is a great show. Thanks everybody for hanging out. As far as me, I don't really have, I don't like to promote too much, but there will be an episode of Original Art Hour next Tuesday. Joining me for the hour is going to be JD Comics. So JD has a pretty big original art collection. So it should be interesting to have him on for the hour and hang and see what he's got in his art collection. So that should be fun. Other than that, I'm supposed to be going on live with First Edition and Man Cave at some point, but there might be some mail issues. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully not. But that's supposed to be happening, but I don't know when. And I'm going to be doing a 700/800 subscriber milestone giveaway as well, where I'm going to be giving away like 5-6 slabs, something like that. So that should be cool. So look out for the details on that. I'm going to try to do a edited video, like a recorded and edited video to roll it out, but we'll see. I may run out of time and I may end up having to do it live or whatever, but that's it. Those are the only two things I wanted to mention. So if you are enjoying this show, I just want to say, please leave me a like on the way out or on the way in or whatever you want to call it. I'd love to see this show get more likes. I've been getting like 200 something views on a lot of the episodes, but like the like count is not high. You know what I mean? So please do me a solid, throw me a like, leave me a comment afterwards. Let me know what you thought. That kind of thing. I really do appreciate that kind of feedback. And thanks again, Simon, for joining me live and hanging out and showing your art with the community, man.
I was very happy to.
I had fun doing it with you. So thanks everybody out there, and stay safe, stay close, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good evening. Bye.